would not believe what happened to me on my flight from Busan to Istanbul. So everyone was already seated, waiting for the plane to start moving towards the runway, when the flight attendant approached me. He asked if I could change seats with a woman sitting a few rows back, so she could sit next to her husband. I was sitting on the aisle, and I said, "Sorry, but no thanks." When he asked why, I answered because I paid for this seat. The man then turned around and said very loudly for everyone to hear, "Sorry, ma'am, you won't be able to sit next to your husband because this person doesn't want to move." Everyone turned around and looked at me. I rolled my eyes and said nothing. But in a blink of an eye, the lady was standing next to me, asking me personally to change spots and pointing at her seat, saying that she was also sitting on the aisle and that I will just be moving a few rows back. I looked up at the flight attendant who was just staring down at me, and I said, "Is that even legal? What about the manifest, where all the names are? Isn't that the reason why we all have assigned seats?" The flight attendant said that that wouldn't be a problem, because they could change the names manually. I then said with an irritated voice, "It is not my fault that you didn't organize your trip accordingly. I specifically paid for this seat to be near the exit to leave the plane as soon as I can. If you wanted to sit next to your husband, you should have paid for it." The husband, who was sitting next to me all this time, finally said in a shy voice that it was a last-minute trip. His shy voice made me feel so bad for the guy, because I could see that the wife was the one making all the fuss. But then I said again, "You cannot make me change seats. I won't change seats. I organized my trip and paid for this seat, and I'm not going to move just because you can't spend a few hours without your husband. And even if it were a last-minute trip, you could have paid to sit together at the counter when you did the check-in." After I said my piece, everyone realized that I wasn't going to move. Karen went back to her seat, I stayed on my seat, and the flight attendant left me alone.